quite my pleasure. It's got a 6.2 litre V8 engine, but a 6.3 badge on the side. It's white, but it's got black in the name. This is the C63 AMG Black Series. So the C63 Black Series is very special and different from the regular C63. You've got wide flared arches up in front here. These are plastic to save weight. You've also got aluminium bonnet with familiar looking scoops there that you may have seen on the Edition 507. You've also got functional aero, and this over here is a very functional and specifically designed aero package, which includes these downforce canards over here. Behind this mesh grille over here sit a bunch of coolers to keep everything running just right. Under the bonnet here, it's got the same 6.2 litre V8 engine we find in many other Mercs, but this one has some forged internals borrowed from the SLS Black Series. Now, the power on here is 380 kilowatts, and that is still 5 kilowatts more than the current C63S. Down the side, there is plenty carbon fiber, including those carbon fiber mirrors over there. You've also got these cooling ducts front and back, and the back one runs straight into this metal wide body section over here. Now this is the big party trick on the AMG. This giant wing, and just like the suspension, it is also manually adjustable. This car over here comes with all the optional extras, including the track pack, which gives you a diff cooler that sits in the middle over there. And in case you forgot what you're driving, you've also got a Black Series badge over there next to your AMG badge. Okay, so it makes a lot of noise. But enough talk, I think it's time to go take this car for a spin. So what does it feel like to put your foot down in the Black Edition like that? There's a lot happening inside here. I mean, the engine noise, there's a lot happening inside here. There's I'm losing my words, okay? You want to hear me say it? I'm losing my words. I tell you guys what, I am super nervous to be driving this car right now because it is one of 8 in the country. There were only 800 made. This is a very special car. It's the kind of car that you don't see around. It's the kind of car you don't see on the streets often, and here I am sitting behind the wheel. Now, truth be told, I don't know a lot about Mercedes-Benz, CLK, C-Series, C63s, etc. So I had to do some research on this car, and the more research I did, the more special I realized it was. I mean, the suspension is track honed to the max. The tires, even the Dunlops back in the day, were specifically designed for this car. These tires on here are Mercedes-Benz approved Michelin Super Sport tires. The surge that you feel when you put your foot down is just unbelievable, but it's that old school, normally aspirated V8 surge. Now, the one thing that I've noticed about this car is that no matter how I go around a corner, it still feels like there's plenty left. So this is definitely one of those track type cars that needs to be taken to a track to be properly enjoyed on that limit. But here on this twisty road right now, this is heaven. This is heaven right here, guys. What makes this car so special? So Merc decided that a couple of years ago, they decided to make a limited run of the C-Series Mercedes-Benz, and they called it the Black Edition. They had a bunch of other Black Series in their lineup, including the SLS, and that was a special time for Mercedes-Benz. That was a special time for Merc and the Black Series name. And this car over here might be the best Black Series of the lot. One of the highlights in this car definitely is that engine sound. I mean, I don't know if you guys can hear that the way I'm hearing it right now, but it's one of those cars that you could just do that with all the time and drive around that overround point with the cracks and pops coming out the back of the car, which it does. There is a lot of crackling and popping going on at the back of this car. The engine in this car has been around since 2009. And unfortunately for the rest of us, they are going to be ceasing production of all V8s for Mercedes-Benz soon. But this engine is still being used in the GT3 car some 11, 12 years later, which means it's still a very good engine even to this day. The steering on here is razor sharp, and it's very much unlike what you'd expect from Mercedes-Benz. It's very sharp, it's very precise, and I can feel like this car was designed by a bunch of guys that said, you know what, Merc, just let us handle this, okay? Let the experts show you guys how to make a fast car. This car does come with launch control, and I've been told that I get to do it, so yeah, let's do that.
Few moments later.
Launch control. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so that's what launch control in a C63 AMG Black Edition feels like. Don't forget it's Black Edition. It's Black Edition. So this car, when it was new, started out at about 1.2 million to about 1.5 million. Currently, as it is here, this car's worth over 2 bar. So it's an appreciating asset, which means it's a collector's item, guys. So no donuts and burnouts, okay? By the way, that was really me. How old is that though? The surge is definitely there. And I mean, I haven't taken this car to the red line yet, but it definitely feels like it makes power all the way to the red line. And it has to. Top speed is over 300 kilometers an hour, and this car isn't limited. This car can actually do 300 k's an hour. 0 to 100 comes up in 4.2 seconds, but this car has been clocked at 3.9 with these Michelins on. If you guys are getting a little bit of shake on the GoPro, I'm sorry. This suspension and the chassis itself, you can feel on this car, is very tight. It's very firm, it's very put together. And that's because the Mercedes-Benz engineers specifically spent time in this car to make this one of the most track-focused Mercedes-Benz ever built. And little old me gets to drive it right now. This car is from 2012. It's only got 30,000 Ks on the clock. And that's not a lot. The owner bought the car at about a year old, and at that stage it only had 10,000 Ks on the clock. He does drive it pretty often and takes it on the school run from time to time. So if you are in the northern suburb somewhere, I'm not going to say exactly where, you might get lucky and see this car every now and then. But other than that, there aren't many of these floating around in Cape Town. To quote F1 Mike, the Black Series is very rare. And you got to keep your eyes open if you want to see them. Why? Because when you do see them, you usually only see them for a few seconds. That's about as long as I dare keep my foot flat for. The speed just builds up so quickly in this car. As soon as you put your foot down, off you go. Now, the aero of this car is very, very functional. None of the stuff is for show. And it is weird seeing a Mercedes-Benz with big wings and spoilers on. This one's got the aero pack, so you've got extra downforce in the front and a specifically tuned splitter in the front. At the back, you've got the adjustable wing. You need a little tool to adjust it though. But when that wing is faced up, the owner told me that you can actually feel the downforce in this car, and you can feel the car getting pushed down at higher speeds. It's hard to believe that this is a standard exhaust on a Mercedes-Benz, but the Mercedes AMG cars are built in a separate factory. So this is in fact an AMG, not a Mercedes-Benz. So if you're expecting a quiet, sedate little car, that's not what you're going to get here. So my time with the AMG is done. What a car, what a special car. I'm not going to lie, I'm very relieved to give this car back because I can tell that the owner loves this car and I'm beginning to fall in love with it myself. Thanks for watching, guys. More content on the channel over the coming weeks, and be sure to follow AMG Addict if you like Mercs as much as this guy does. Cheers.